Maybe I was not thought of or looked at or allowed to be looked at. I've known darkness in my life, but that
I was not considered or checked out or permitted to be seen. I've known obscurity in my life. Yet that was the haziest I can be blamed for anything at all. I'm not no doubt. I'm not the most friendly and rambunctious of by the manner in which I've had around 17 rebounds evidently I continue to ponder the word rebound since I didn't go any place oak. So Johnny Depp has stayed under the radar since he was associated with that scandalous preliminary. A couple of years back during those haziest days, Johnny was deserted by a large portion of his dear companions. And any reasonable person would agree that it truly hurt him well. When Feline Williams showed up on the club, Shea Digital broadcast, he confronted a ton of reaction from his companions. Presently reports guarantee that Johnny has emerged from the forest to help Feline in his plan of uncovering the clouded side of Hollywood. Johnny Depp ventured once more into the spotlight at the 2023 KH movie celebration, and he had a strained words in light of ongoing debates encompassing his own life. He went to a public interview for his new movie Jane Duver, which opened the celebration the prior night, and talked about it and the media bazaar that followed him to Cannes in the midst of the fight relationship with Hollywood. After he won his maligning suit against ex-Golden Group last year, following an emotional 6-week preliminary. For reference, Depp won his slander claim against Crowd after a jury concluded that Group purposefully and perniciously criticized the entertainer when she wrote her 2018 Washington Post up about her encounters as a homegrown survivor. The decision came after Depp lost a libel suit against the child in 2020 focused on the paper's utilization of the word spouse mixer in a piece on Crowd's charges against Depp. The appointed authority governed the article was significantly evident, and that the extraordinary larger part of Ands of Mish Crowd by Mr. Depp have been demonstrated to the common standard regard to Johnny. It was horrendous on the grounds that it was coming from you realize a first individual record at any rate, since the insight about Johnny's rebound has stood out as truly newsworthy. Her allies sent off a virtual entertainment crusade with a hashtag can you not and hammer the celebration for praising hitters for quite some time. Many enormous names, for example, French entertainer Hanel participated and blamed KK and the French movie industry of lack of concern towards aggressors, alluding to the disputable producers Roman Polanski and Christophe Ria. It was subsequently uncovered that Hanel had blamed Christophe for she yet purportedly couldn't demonstrate it, while Celebration boss Hypothesis Foro excused the reaction during a question and answer session by calling Damnation's extreme remarks misleading. He likewise guarded Depp's consideration by saying I have barely any familiarity with the picture of Johnny Day in the U.S. to come clean in my life. I just have one rule, it's the opportunity of reasoning and the ability to speak freely and acting inside legitimate structure. I'm the last individual to have the option to examine this in the event that there's one individual in this world who didn't find minimal premium in this exceptionally plugged preliminary. It's me. I don't have the foggiest idea what it's about. I likewise care about Johnny Depp as an entertainer, notwithstanding that Johnny additionally slammed the reaction at his initial discourse. The fact of the matter is reality to the extent that it being a positive or a pessimistic to the movie. Every one of the kind of dynamic murmurs generally that does is perhaps individuals discuss the movie along these lines, or they will discuss your stir with a specific goal in mind. In a limited way, the truth of the matter is that all of us are here since we made a movie not on the grounds that we have an item to sell. Depp later conceded that he was concerned that his attendance at the celebration this year would insult individuals, and he would have rather not annoyed anybody. He lauded the occasion, its chief Joselis Riardos, and the City Hall leader of San Sebastian for their undying help, and for not accepting what has been for a really long time some thought of him that didn't exist. Not just that he even asserted that Hollywood had supposedly placed an objective on him, Well before the Golden Group dramatization went down, Depp uncovered that all that most of the U.S. had been perusing for the last 5 or 6 years about him was phenomenally, terribly composed fiction. He guaranteed that assuming that he had redirected the inquiry in regards to the debate, by saying that they were there to discuss a movie, it would have been fabulously exaggerated by the media. He said it resembles posing an inquiry, "How are you doing?" Yet what's under the subtext is, "God, I disdain you. Do you have any idea about what I mean?" So that is the kind of media thing, despite the fact that Depp wound up winning the claim the harm done to his vocation was irreversible. You see, diversion monsters like Walt Disney and Warner siblings basically deserted Johnny Depp without hanging tight for the decision of the preliminary unexpectedly. After the preliminary, there were reports that Depp could bear making $20 million by going to the privateers of the Caribbean establishment to play Chief Jack Sparrow. Sean Bailey, the leader of Disney Studios, even put out an announcement guaranteeing that the studio was reserved by then. Concerning Depp's rebound, think about what Depp apparently unloaded Disney, as he wouldn't return, notwithstanding the protuberance sum presented in the arrangement just before his 60th birthday celebration. This Friday, Depp pronounced that he totally cared very little about truly working with Disney again. As per companions, the entertainer went through the beyond. While thinking about what he maintains, that should do, they even asserted that Depp had seen the genuine essence of Hollywood during his difficult stretch. The companion made sense of that they aimlessly dropped him, despite the fact that Golden had lied her behind off the colleague. Likewise said that regardless of how worthwhile the proposition, Depp has concluded he won't ever consent to get back to Disney. And it is profoundly far-fetched that the entertainer will at any point hope to do a studio movie again, in light of the fact that he got a brush off from different studios too. While he was generally disliking his ex, not simply Disney, he says he isn't keen on talking another person's words. He is keen on valid articulation of himself through workmanship and music. Right now, he cares very little about Hollywood at all. That is what Depp has consistently said. This is about it wasn't really necessary to focus on cash. There wasn't any need to focus on retaliation. It was tied in with attempting to get his great name and notoriety back, since he eagerly denied the Feline Williams in a new sit-down with Shannon Sharp in his webcast. Club Shay Feline dropped some really robust truth bombs that have shaken media outlets to its center. He anticipated that 2024 will be the year in which reality will at last win. The humorist made sense of that even influential individuals like Diddy wouldn't have the option to get away from this time. These are huge dick freaks is all getting hellfire in 2024. It's up for every one of them. It don't make any difference on the off chance that you did. You're the informant implied that the evil culture of the more elite class CB will be disclosed, and the members cannot do anything to stop that. ISIS will be uncovered. That is all. And any individual who misinterprets that know why they misinterpreted during the meeting. Feline suggested that he needed to turn down gigantic $50 million arrangements multiple times in light of the fact that purportedly they wouldn't come in after Diddy had his direction with him. Now C is an example of the rare type of person in the business who might turn down a proposition like that since his personality was on the line. He said, "I needed to turn down $50 million 4 times, multiple times, just to safeguard my trustworthiness." Feline cleared up that Diddy pursues for pull a similar prank on numerous celebs in light of the fact that it functions admirably for him